Hi, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Perspective.
Woo!
We
Yeah.
are 3/4 of Full Moon Paranormal. I'm Nicole.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Susan.
And we are here with our special guests for the night. Our very first guest on Paranormal Perspective, Michael and Rosalyn Lewis.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We're number one. We're number one.
We're number
Thank
one.
you for having us. We really
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
Thank you for joining.
We are so glad that you guys are our first guests. We love working with you. Love everything we do with you guys.
Yeah, we have some fun, don't we?
You guys, did you ladies recover from Gettysburg pretty well? That was a few weeks back.
For the most part.
It
Yeah.
took a while, but not as young as we used to be.
It gets worse.
Nicole's still young.
Not that young. How about you? Are you recovering from the paranormal hangover?
It took a couple days, you know. It was quite a wonderful, wacky, eventful weekend. But one of the things we really love about that weekend is that so much focus is put on the social aspect of it. You know, you have this unique environment where there's a gathering of people in the paranormal field from all different parts of the country gathering in one spot. So, you know, they schedule it in a way that it really does allow for you to stay up late, to be together, to do karaoke and to do dancing and you know, and just have fun and socialize and build your network, build connection, build bonds. And then the event doesn't start the next day until, was it noon? Like it was pretty late. So you're able to be up late and then sleep in and then have another full day of lectures and fun and meet and greet. So yeah, we love it. We're looking forward to going back again next year. We're already in. We don't care what the date is. We're going to make it work because it's not to be missed. Not to be missed, guys. Gettysburg Battlefield Bash.
And it's all for a great cause, helping like wounded warriors.
Yeah.
The Batman comes around and gives rides to kids.
Yes. Yes.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Did you guys see that where he took the kid for the ride?
Yeah, we couldn't step out when he did it because we were doing a reading for someone, but yeah, we definitely watched it afterwards and yeah, give them all our support. They really, and Pam and Steve Barry that run the event, you know, they really are very selfless people. They are unique in this field. I hate to say it, that there's this remarkable lack of ego to the way they just approach things and conduct it. You know, they think bigger than themselves. And it's good for everyone. I think just being there, I think it makes us all a little bit better as paranormal community members.
And I like the fact too that that the Wyndham really accommodates the event very well. You know, from the conference room itself, and then the separate areas for the smaller lectures or other breakout activities. And we were talking to Pam or Steve, one of them, and they said that they actually sold out the Wyndham and people were booked at the hotel next door.
Yeah.
So that's just you know, shows that people really have a, you know, that hunger for community and you know, of course, again with that kind of the way that it's scheduled, there's plenty of time for people to go out first thing in the morning or at other times to see Gettysburg itself. So it's a huge draw. It's great for historical enthusiasts, people who want to experience something, and then of course, yeah, like Roz was saying, the incredible coming together of paranormal peeps. It's just really rocking.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for networking and connecting with people in that way, rather than, you know, seeing people at a booth, handing them your card, they hand your card, and you never look at it again. You get to make those genuine connections. I know I made some friends there that, you know, that I would never have maybe had real conversations with, just meeting them at a table or a booth.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, it was a good time.
Very good time.
We love it.
It's a really good time.
Yeah, so speaking of people without their big egos, we haven't really even talked about what you guys do yet. We're too busy gushing about everybody else.
Yeah, that's funny. So for those who don't,
we're gonna put up.
Thank you. Perfect. Oh, look at us.
You got it.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us and everybody a little bit about yourselves and what you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's from Gettysburg, that picture. That's the one we took at
Yeah,
Devil's Den.
Devil's Den.
Oh,
Yeah.
Devil's Den.
Stole it from
Yeah.
Facebook.
That was fun. No,
Yep.
we're fine with that. So again, I'm Rosalyn and Michael Lewis. We live in Walden, New York, which is in the Hudson Valley of New York. And I'm originally from South Jersey. So I grew up in the Philly suburbs of paranormal, the whole founding of America, the Declaration of Independence, all those things. Like we had a lot of those nice, fun, historic ghosts down in that area. And now I live up here in New York with my husband. And my background for people who know me, if they've known me, if they've seen the show, back in 2011, I believe it was, I was a cast member of SyFy's Ghost Hunters Academy. And that was a reality TV show for ghost hunters where Grant Wilson was actually leaving the show. And that hadn't been announced yet. But Ghost Hunters was looking for a new member of their team. So they decided to do a reality show competition to see who, would be the best fit for their team. So I participated in that. If you didn't see it, that's okay. I didn't watch it either. However, Adam Berry actually won my season. So most people are familiar with Adam from Adam and Amy and Kindred Spirits. So I worked with them, was on the road with them for 2 months, 8 weeks straight. With Steve, Tango, and Jason. So that's like how I got into paranormal entertainment. But my history goes way back to that. Back in 1999 is actually when I started investigating ghosts. So that's 24 years I've been actually in the field, just quietly doing my thing. And joined a group in South Jersey, and we actually were a TAPS family member group. So when people would call ghost hunters or TAPS and ask for someone to come out and help them with ghosts, they would, if you lived in New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, and even Delaware, because they didn't have a team in Delaware, we would actually be the people that would come out and help you. And it was something we loved to do. We did it for free, and it was just a passion for paranormal investigation. So that's my background as far as paranormal investigation. And what do we do now? We do readings together. We do oracle card readings, my husband and I. We do mediumship. We teach workshops and classes on different aspects of the paranormal. I'm a Reiki master, and so I can do Reiki healings. I make healing jewelry, and I'm a graphic designer. So I also make and sell paranormal themed products, items, and paraphernalia. So that's me. And then my love.
Yeah. So my start, I was just an average church-going kid in my teenage years, and my older brother Alan, through one of our hometown friends, Jeff Unger, he Jeff Unger was part of Chris DeCesare's C2D1 haunting experience at SUNY Geneseo back in, was it 86, 85, 85, I believe. And so it was an 11-week long extreme haunting that, today is highly documented. I understand it may end up on a major streaming channel next year, the story being told. So yeah, I encountered people that I knew and trusted who had paranormal encounters, and it weirded me out, and I was afraid for a little bit, but I kind of over time was able to weave it into my spiritual outlook and beliefs, and so it just became kind of like a natural part and a natural extension maybe of regular reality. So over the decades, I was in groups that did everything from try and go to Frederick Douglass's, the site of his house, and try and speak with him, his spirit, to research into auras and biblical Christianity and all sorts of topics, just to kind of always be growing and trying to work on oneself. So yeah, that is an offshoot, eventually got me down to the Hudson Valley. I worked in education for a bunch of years as a teaching assistant, and now in my day job is a job coach for people with developmental disabilities. So, and yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter, and there you go.
That's awesome. So you guys have everything covered between the two of you pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All aspects. We got it. And we love this stuff,
That's true.
just super passionate about, about ghosts and hauntings, but also about the spiritual aspects, about helping people. I mean, when we do our readings, maybe, I know not everybody buys into card readings and things like that. And that's fine, because one thing that if you sit down at a table with us for a reading, if you come to one of our lectures and we talk about different topics, one of the first things we'll tell you is we don't need you to agree with us. We don't want you to make what we say fit. We want to give you our experiences and then have you decide what resonates. And that's what you take with you, and the rest you discard. So, we look at our own belief systems. Michael coming as a church going kid who, this stuff was in some ways counter to what he had been taught, and in some ways it fit in so nicely. And for me, who got my start as a little girl who would have premonitions, living in a family where they did not want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want it stirred up. My Aunt Sharon always said, let the dead stay dead. So, I came from this, but I was having these real premonitions that eventually my family had to start to listen and acknowledge that, whoa, she's telling us something bad's going to happen. Let's pay attention. So, we come from this aspect where our beliefs have changed and evolved throughout the years. And we really do believe that, if your beliefs aren't evolving, you're probably not really challenging them much. You're coming in with a locked mindset and staying in it. And that rigidity is, you're doing yourself a disservice, because at the end of the day, none of us has any of the answers. We have a bunch of theories, we have experiences, we have beliefs. We still don't even know what a ghost is. So, to argue about all the other things is kind of silly when no one has the answers to the basic kernel of what it is that we're setting out to do. But yeah, the more we can explore, the more we can learn, and the more we can try to network with other people and collaborate and learn together, we think the better the whole field will be in the end.
And speaking of collaboration, I like, even though we may not be able to define what a ghost is, Nicole has 2 stellar ghosts caught on film on this slide. So I think if you have that as a jumping off point,
it seems legit.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they say that ghosts can't be, caught on camera, the skeptics. Well, there you go. Disproved right there.
Nailed it. Full moon.
We have a couple people in the comment section just chiming in to say hi. We have Maria.
Oh, hi.
We have Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
And we have Margaret.
Hey, Margaret.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
So what advice would you guys have for somebody who wants to get started in the field, whether it's oracle readings, Reiki, the paranormal? Where should people get started if they're interested in learning more, or we're really getting into this?
The clairs. So some folks have heard of like clairvoyance. It's kind of used synonymous with psychic powers. It literally means clear sight. So in our experience and in a lot of other people's experiences, there's an array of spiritual gifts and talents that people have. And it could be, seeing things, hearing things, knowing things, or sensing emotion and other types of things. So one thing that we would often talk about with people who are starting to get into this is think about, have you had any extraordinary types of situations or messages or sensations, and what form did that take? So, when we've been out on ghost hunts with you guys, Lisa, sometimes I think you're kind of claircognizant, like you'll just like know some information and you'll start talking about it, and it's like all of a sudden everyone's like, yep, that checks out. Like, so, many people, especially many women, have that empathic ability, where when you're out someplace haunted, or you just in your daily life, you're sometimes like, ooh, I'm getting a bad vibe off that person, or, ooh, why are they so upset? So if you narrow down what your maybe is one of your stronger clairs, that is very helpful, because it's kind of like, then if there is activity, if there is phenomena out there, now you know what your zip code is, you know, or your state. Like, you don't have to wonder, hey, am I California or am I New York? Like, if you, so as a musician, it appears that I have clear audience, clear hearing as one of my primary ones. So, you know, I may hear a voice, or sometimes if it's depending on the type of phenomena, it'll just be more like an audio trigger, you know. Things from the other side, you know, may communicate to me through music or through, you know, something that I can hear, and that kind of stuff. So as a newbie, as someone trying to get into this stuff, like, think about that. Think about your Claire. Think about you know, how to slow down your life and either find time to meditate or to pray or just to take quiet walks, because you know, when we're watching those ghost shows that we all love, you know, there's always like the music swells and something crashes off camera and you're like, did something break? No, that was a sound effect. But, you know, it seems all dramatical and all that. But, you know, in real life, you know, before you get versatile and good at using equipment and stuff, you got to be able to perceive things within yourself. And the best way is by learning how to quiet down and figure out, well, what's me and then what's other. So those are a couple of tips. What else would you say, Rosie?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think I had the advantage of, when I did start in my paranormal group in 1999, I joined a group. Now, first of all, there was like, this is before ghost hunters was even a thing. So, you know, for me to watch a news like a, you know, lifestyle, lifestyle, local events type news channel, and they did a segment right around Halloween about this ghost group. I mean, really, no one was doing this as far as I knew. So it was very exciting. But I lucked into, not only in the only group in my area, but they had an approach that a lot of groups didn't have. You know, even ghost hunters, when they came around, they were really looking to do scientific ghost hunting only. And they were discounting a lot of the psychic stuff. And I was part of a group that did not do that. I was a part of a group that, when we would write our report, because every time we did an investigation for a location, we would write reports. Every member would write what they experienced, any evidence they got or potential evidence, and sort of just a timeline of their evening. And we always had a section in there for psychic impressions. So we held those things just as valuable as a 2 milligauss spike on an EMF meter, as getting a temperature drop on a non-contact infrared thermometer. You know, all those things were important to us. So, you know, that really helps to know what your psychic abilities are, because in my early days, I remember one of my first investigations with them, we investigated Fort Mifflin. All places to do one of your first, you know, but we had a very good relationship with them, and we did a lot of things. We used to do like sleeping with the ghosts, where we would host ghost hunts there overnight. So I was there as a trainee, and you know, I just was walking around in these casemates and in the powder magazine and different locations, and just feeling this like overwhelming heaviness. And back then I didn't know, like Michael said, that wasn't me, that was something else, that I was most likely perceiving something from the spirits there. But because I was with a group of people that had a good mindset about it, who were very open-minded and very willing to communicate, the other members could tell me, oh, well, this could be what's going on. And okay, so write that down on your report. And then later, when the team leader looks at all the reports, that person can see, wait a minute, at 8:30, Rosalyn was sensing something in this location. She thought she felt like sadness. And then at 9:20, another team member was in that area and they could hear someone crying. So now you're taking experiences with, you know, with scientific things or with things that are more objective, and you're able to find crossover. You're able to find intersection. And that, in my opinion, is where the strongest you're going to get, is when you can intersect two types of potential evidence. So yeah, really, really helpful. Also, if you just are interested in just ghosts, you know, once you kind of know, all right, this is where I am as far as psychically, if you just want to go out and ghost hunt, you know, there are so many places you can go. Number one, you can go to the conventions where you can get out, you can meet people. A lot of the conventions will also include like a ghost hunt that you could pay for as like an a la carte thing and add on. Going around with groups like Full Moon Paranormal, I mean, you guys have been such a blessing to this region because you're making ghost investigation accessible to people who up until then were just armchair investigators. They were at home watching TV thinking everything was out of reach, and you're actually giving them the ability to, to pay a very small fee to access these historic locations that they otherwise could never get into, and to be led by some people who from the field who have some experience and different perspectives. So we really love that. We really recommend people look for groups like yours that are bringing these opportunities. And then also, in addition to organized things and bigger things, just go to a place that is historic or a place you think is haunted but is publicly accessible. Whether it's taking a walk in a cemetery, you can do that during the day and get activity and have impressions and take notes. You can go to a fort, like again, I'm from outside Philly, so we'd go to Eastern State Penitentiary and you pay the small fee to go in and do the tour. They give you free reign to walk around, and you can find a quiet corner and sit there with your voice recorder or sit there with a notebook and write down what you get or take pictures. You can do almost everything during the day that you can at night other than use like infrared technology, really. So yeah, that's how we would recommend. Look at the psychic and look at your abilities to access some different locations and just go out and experiment and see what you get.
And lastly, too, I would say that for someone just getting into this stuff, if you're working on your own gifts and talents, that can happen pretty much anywhere. But if you're trying to do the woo-woo, the ghost busty type stuff, do it outside of where you live.
Oh, yes.
Because you don't want to turn on the vacancy sign, like where you live, and then you're trying to sleep and random things start happening. So
good point.
That's I was talking with members of the group in Gettysburg about how to kind of create your personal space and boundaries and the power of intention, and to keep unwanted activity from happening in your house. So it was 10 years ago or so. I was hanging out. Someone up in the Lake George area used to kind of have like parties, but with all paranormal people. And they pulled out a Ouija board in their apartment, and I'm like, wait, what? But it was an interesting situation because it was kind of like the wife didn't believe in this stuff, so she was like, well, let's just see if we can get anything. And I'm like, wow. I was uncomfortable, and I think I walked out during that portion because I didn't want to really
stir things up.
Yeah, encourage be a force of encouragement for that stuff. But yeah, other than that, those are a lot of the basics, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's some really good advice, especially the thing about spirits being just as active during the day. Because I know we've done events where at sundown, everything stopped because these people who lived there, they were farmers. They went to bed when the sun went down.
Excellent point.
Right.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
So when you guys are doing readings, like you're reading oracle cards, where do you think the answers come from? Is it your spirit guides? Is it the angels? Is it just your own intuition?
The answer is yes. Ha! Look at that.
A lot of options there.
All of it.
But yeah, in one sense, it was interesting. Rosalyn had been doing this for a little bit longer than me, and so there was an event in New Jersey called Paraunity, and this was some years ago, like 7-8 years ago. And so I knew who she was. We were kind of friendly, and she and a couple of people were kind of doing a reading circle.
Yeah.
So they would pull cards for someone, and then everyone in the circle would give their impressions. So I didn't think I had anything to contribute. I'd never worked with angel oracle cards. I sat down, and again, whatever your clairs are, whatever your spiritual gifts and talents can help with these things. So yes, your psychic intuition is one component of it, I would say. I will oftentimes, before readings, consciously, give a shout out, give an invitation to my spirit guides to assist. And another thing, yes, most of our cards are, have angels on them. So uh, God's messengers of the spirit realm are definitely active. But as well, sometimes when we're going to be going to an event to do a reading, it's interesting that before we get there, who tends to show up, Rosalind?
Oh yeah. Well, which person? Because we have lots.
Well, but
but
people that we don't know start showing up.
Yeah, we did one recently, actually. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough. Sorry, under the weather. A couple weeks ago, we did a in-person reading for a woman that we had met, and we met up with her in Middletown. And before we went there, last time we had seen her, we had met her at an event, and we had done a reading for her and her sister, who was passed away. Her late sister was very vocal, had a lot to say, and it was so much so that she then went over and got her mom and dragged her over and had her sit down, and we were able to get even more information and connection from her sister. So this time, before we met up with this lady, I sat down with my notebook about an hour before, and I said, all right, let me reach out to the sister beforehand and see if I can get information, get her to come through. That way, if we're distracted or if things are, there's other distractions where we were meeting with her, we would have this quiet time. And oh my gosh, it was just this litany of information that the sister gave. And we were able to go in, and she was able to, I believe, confirm all of it.
Yeah, it was
claim all of it, including I was seeing her son. So the sister passed away, but her son is 8, 9, and I was able to see his little graduation ceremony, moving up from school. Yep. So I was seeing all of that. So sometimes it is spirits of the deceased and spirit guides. I firmly believe that one of my spirit guides is actually Michael's late ex-wife. Who, I never met her. They divorced before I met him. She passed away before he and I met. So I had no way of ever knowing her, but she has been very vocal, and she's popped up and just been very wonderful and supportive and been a guide for me, whether it's just to help me because she resonates with me as a woman, this empowered woman. She was this little spitball who, spitfire, who, would really want to encourage a woman who's got a voice, who's creative, et cetera, et cetera. Or if it's because, she still has that connection with Michael and wants to empower me to help empower him, whatever it is, we don't know. But yeah, it's like Michael said, yes, all of the above. And also possibly our own higher self is part of it too. At the end of the day, we don't know. It feels differently though when it is the dead versus guides and angels. It's a different density. Human, again, this is all theory. We don't claim anything as fact, but in our experience, when we're connecting with a deceased human, it's a heavier, denser, lower energy, like slower moving, where when you're dealing with angelic, it tends to be faster moving, higher vibration, lighter, fluffier, less draining. So we do notice a difference between different types of energy, but even pets, we can connect with your pets, and we have. A lot of times they come through feeling like children, until we dig in and we realize, nope, this is a pet. Right. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. But what we just caution people is make sure you just set your intentions. You don't want to just have an open door policy and that's one of the challenges with Ouija boards. People will use the board, and we're not knee jerk thinking, oh, Ouija boards are evil, but we know they can lead to people letting their guards down because they're treating it as just a game. And people often don't put any boundaries. They don't set parameters. They don't set a clear intention. They say, if there's anyone here that wants to talk to me, touch this thing that my hands are touching, and it's like, whoa, who are you playing footsie with there? So just, we caution people, even with just doing readings, make sure you are setting a clear intention and that you're only talking to spirits that are, for the highest and best good, spirits of the light. If you want to use your guides to be a gatekeeper, to just let the good ones in and keep the bad ones out and act as a psychic bouncer for you, different approaches. But yeah, we just caution people to be careful, because at the end of the day, we have no idea who we're talking to. We just have theories and beliefs.
I have a question then. So when you're investigating and you're trying to communicate, are you using the same kind of technique as when you're doing a reading?
We do utilize psychic protection. So
Okay.
that's something a lot of people in the field don't do. And, they don't necessarily feel the need, or some people are just so positive that they don't usually have negative encounters. But as far as just reading a room, there, again, my opinion is that there's a slight variation, because if you're sitting across from me and I'm doing a reading for you, what I'm trying to do is connect with entities, spirits who are connected to you.
Correct.
Right.
So it's like you are the linchpin, and now I'm trying to gather. Actually, sometimes you'll see a medium actually put their hand into your aura, into your aura space, because energetically they're trying to catch that thread that connects you to the others. So it's like they're using you as that hub. When you're going into a building, it's different. You're more. It's almost like you're just trying to like catch the vapors that are around you. So it's more challenging because you don't really have that person to person contact. But
Right.
it is similar, because again, you're just assessing, what am I feeling? What am I sensing? What am I hearing? Is this me? If it's not, okay, what is it? And then once you kind of make a little connection, you try to grab it. Also, a lot of times in buildings, it's more fleeting. We
Yeah.
found that spirits and ghosts don't seem to have the energy to maintain activity. So that's something else we'll use to rule out. If you go to a place and you keep getting the same type of thing over and over and over, there's a good chance that's not a ghost, because human spirits don't seem to have that much energy to just keep something up over and over and over and over again, for a sustained period.
And I think that was a great question, Lisa. I think that another uh, slight difference is that sometimes when we do a reading for someone, one of our introductory statements is that all of us have the ability to receive messages from our guides, God, the angels, our passed on loved ones, the whole slide there. But when we're doing a reading, we're creating a time and place, a spot, an intention for more wisdom to happen. So sometimes if you're going to do a haunted location investigation, it's not quite the same parameters. Although, on occasion, some folks, before they get to Hinsdale, before they get someplace, they may get some pre-haunting kind of phenomena, and definitely sometimes some post-haunting phenomena. But yeah, that's another one of the differences that, if we're doing a reading for Susan, like her guides and angels have something invested in it, and so they're kind of like, let's push this through. Or maybe her grandpa Fred or something like that is like, yep, I just wanted to talk to Susan today. I'm glad you guys sat down. And all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 boom. So it is a little different, because of the dozens of places you guys have been, I'm sure sometimes it's like, man, this is off the meter, and then wait, now this place is like, seems dead. Pardon the pun.
Oh boy.
Well, it's been a while without a joke. I thought I had to do a joke.
Don't encourage him.
You always need a pun. Wherever you can fit one in.
See? She's got
Well, and I
one.
always feel like when we're doing our investigations and sometimes we'll have up to 30 people because we'll have a lecture or whatever. I wonder sometimes if we're even communicating with the spirits that might be connected to the location, or the people that have come there and you have brought that with them.
That's savvy.
And
I like
they're
that.
trying to talk
Yeah.
now.
Right. I like that.
Because
I agree.
feel all kinds of crazy things sometimes, and I'm like,
Yeah, because sometimes, like you said, there'll be a little circle of people in the haunted location. We'll turn on equipment. We'll turn on voice recorders. But it seems like, oh, we're actually just hearing about this person, and they came with us. Like, we're not even hearing about the location or what it was like back in the day. So yeah, it's a challenge sometimes to figure out exactly who's going to show up and interact with you at these places, right?
Yeah, we're also interested in years ago we did a lecture up in Rhode Island for their Paracon, probably 5 years ago, about the Philip experiment, which a lot of people in the field have not heard of. But basically it was an experiment done in Canada where they were trying to see if it was possible to manifest a ghost. And this research team they got together and they were meeting up regularly for a period of years. And they basically invented an entire history, an entire biography for this ghost named Philip. His whole backstory, how he died, what happened in his life, etc., what he looked like. And then they proceeded to meet up and do table tipping, and they were getting EVPs and they were getting knocks on the tables and all this activity for a period of years that was related to this Philip that they invented. And then if they decided they would change an aspect of the story, the activity would then reflect their new invention. So the point of it is, it's possible that we are manifesting this, that everyone goes to this place and says they see a woman in white. Well, you go in there expecting to see a woman in white, and you might actually be projecting or manifesting this tulpa or thought form or, this false ghost. So that's something else to try to just be a little skeptical about, like what are we actually bringing with us? Like you said, what are we attracting to us, and what may we actually be inventing without realizing it? So yeah, it's
but
very
I think
exciting.
That's almost just as interesting as, speaking with the dead, having, 5 people sitting around a REM pod and making it go off with their thoughts.
Yeah. Isn't that
and their
something?
intent. That's just as interesting. It's a different kind of interesting, but it's just as interesting.
Yeah, agreed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might be time to bring the Philip experiment back.
Yeah.
Get a group together, dedicated, and see what they can make happen.
Now, Rosalyn, when you talk about that, do you think that actually, just your opinion, did they create it, or were they actually connected to something that was playing with them? Like, okay, I'll play along.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think they created it, but maybe not always, because excuse me, I have a cough drop. Like I said, they met over a period of years. So it's possible it was a combination. Yeah, that's actually an excellent question.
It would be interesting to have them go in for a period of years or a period of time and think this and like project this on this location, and then have an outside group who knew nothing about it go in and see if they were getting the same results. So if they were projecting it and creating kind of like a tulpa kind of thing, or if it was just them projecting their intent on the equipment.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
That's something to do at our next
there you go.
And
if you look online, you can see video from the Philip experiment of them actually with the table lifting up and moving around the room, and the people in the group are like dancing around this table, like literally they're doing a little dance around it, and the table is just moving along with them.
A Canadian dance, should be noted.
Yes, very polite,
1970s Canadian
dance, but very exciting. Yeah, and see, that's what we love about you guys. You have this curiosity too, this thirst for knowledge, and that was one of my challenges when I did leave my group, is that I realized by the end, October was like every September, October, November, we would schedule probably 4 or 5 libraries a week where we would do ghost lectures for free. Again, we were just trying to get our name out, trying to help people out. And we would go all over the tri-state area in South Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and do these lectures. And I noticed after a while that we would always answer a question, because the Q&A is always my favorite part. People would say, well, what do you think about blah, blah, blah? And the first thing I would always hear myself saying is, well, we believe that blah, blah, blah. We believe. And I'm like, when I finally left the group, I'm like, wait a minute. How much of this is stuff that I believe, and how much of it is things that I have learned to accept as the way things were? So when I left that group, I always say that I basically dumped everything I believed about the paranormal out of my little toolkit. And then I picked everything up, examined it, and selected what to put back in. And that's so cool, because you guys do the same thing. You think about things, you question it, you challenge it, and you don't knee-jerk assume that everything's a ghost. Because, if you paraphrase The Incredibles, if everybody's super, then no one is. If everything's a ghost, nothing is. So, it's super cool. Ooh, I like this question.
We have some pictures of you here from Ghost Hunters Academy. I have to do a deep dive on Google to find those.
So fun. Let me say, though, the one with the van is we were driving from Waverly Hills. So our first investigation was Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. And then we were driving from there to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. So that's actually where that first picture was taken. And then the second one was actually at Trans-Allegheny. We did a photo shoot out there. So yeah, it was between episode 1 and episode 2. So how does being on paranormal TV differ from real world investigating? It differs a lot. I mean, first of all, I will say that, people watch these ghost shows and, it's not always evident that, it looks like they're there for a night. When I was traveling with them, we lived in each location for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We spent 2 weeks in each place. And now again, it was a reality show. So they also had to do location scouting, shoot B-roll, set up for the elimination scene and all that stuff, plus allow us time to review our evidence. But we're wearing the same clothes every day because they're going to put everything together and make it seem continuous at the end. As far as investigation, I mean, we actually did investigate. It wasn't made up. However, one thing that they didn't do that my team always did is we were very big on the follow-up. If I come to your house and do an investigation with my group, what we would do is before we left, we would pick one of the team members to be your contact person. And that person is going to be in touch with you up until we give you your report. So they're going to call you in 48 hours and see how you're doing. Has the activity changed? Do you have any questions? In 2 weeks, in 4 weeks, and usually by 4.5 weeks, we get your report out to you with any evidence we got. So, I remember asking Steve Gonzalez about that when we were on the van one day driving. And I was like, so how do you guys handle follow-ups? He's like, well, we really don't. It wasn't really part of what they were doing. Now, I'm assuming their team, people from the production crew might follow up at some point, whether it's to look into returning or what have you. But, they're there to create a TV show. It's meant to be entertaining. It's meant to have a continuous storyline. It's meant to have story arcs and excitement. One thing that I did after I filmed and after I was eliminated and sent home, they actually flew me out to LA for one day. They flew me to Hollywood, picked me up, and, I flew out in the morning. I flew home on the red eye, and they had me, just kind of answer some more questions that they could then splice in. They asked me, okay, we got to ask you, can you say, what was that? And it's like, wait, really? You really want me to say, what was that? So that they can overlay it where it's appropriate for their storytelling. So, they're trying to get you to tune in and to stay tuned in through all the commercials. That's their goal. So, that's the big difference, realizing what the intention of the investigation is. But as far as actually investigating, every place we did, we really investigated. We did Mark Twain's house. We did Fort Delaware. All those things were real, true investigations. We actually reviewed the evidence. And yeah, it was such a blast. It was such a good time. Yeah, that was quite an experience. But yeah, when I actually do it in the real world, I don't get paid. I do it for free.
Which location did you find most active, Rosalyn? Which one did you have the most
active? Funny thing is, when we were there at Trans Allegheny, Vera and I, now maybe it was actually it was active. We had an experience that the camera guys didn't even get. Like, we had a shadow pass that we both saw. And nobody was filming at the time. They were down at the other end of the hall, huddled, discussing, I guess, their next scene or setup. And Vera and I were like, what? Like, how did all those guys with cameras down at their sides and not up here, like, totally missed the money shot? And we just laughed about it. We just laughed. But yeah, I feel like that might have, that's a good question.
Isn't that
my favorite was Mark Twain.
Isn't that always how it happens? As soon as you're not filming, the crazy stuff haphens.
Exactly.
That happened to us at the Patchett house.
Oh, yeah.
We turned off the camera. Remember when we had the Phasma running?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
We got Hans Holzer said it was his name in the German act. It said Hans Holzer.
Austria.
Oh.
Wow.
And we never heard that before. We were like, was that Hans? Like, we were like, is that Hans?
We looked at each other and we were like, did that just say? Like, that's just
accent, his voice, like, I recognize his voice from the show or whatever, but very weird. But of course, we turned the cameras off by then.
Oh, that stinks.
Replay it. Very strange.
So you guys have an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big
Yes,
time.
I
And it
do.
is awesome.
Oh,
Whoa,
thank
fun.
you. And it's building up bigger and bigger. Yeah. Had it years ago and then, kind of settled down because I was working on other projects. But now I'm back to my Song of the Spirit.
So I'm
Because
gonna
again, I'm a
share the
graphic
screen
designer. Oh,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
some of
kind of
my
scroll
new
through
stuff.
this.
I sell blankets and shoes and laptop covers, mouse pads, t-shirts, hats. Hats are very popular, purses. I've been on Etsy a while. I think I have like over 3,600 sales through
Wow.
that time. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty vibrant. But yeah, I love it. And I design like Hunt and Ghost is my original design that people keep pirating. I have to keep having them take it down. But
Can I tell you, I got so mad. We were at the Battlefield Bash and I didn't see you guys, and I saw this, and I was like, somebody ripped them off again. And then I saw you guys. And I was like, okay, all right, it's their booth. It's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
I was so mad for you guys. So
I appreciate it.
Good. She was about to tussle someone.
I was gonna fight somebody.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of my stuff has been pirated, but that's when I fight for. And
you guys have your stickers.
I'm getting some
Stickers and
on
magnets.
Saturday.
Yeah, I've got some set aside for you. Stickers and magnets. I love the Ouija. This little Ouija one in the corner is a magnet,
really
and we keep it on our fridge. It's so cool. It says "Order Pizza." That's actually an adaptation I made of somebody else's original that I purchased. So I purchased it and then changed it. But yeah, a lot of these other ones I made up from scratch, and yeah, super fun.
But the great thing about all this is that, I tell her that this is the culmination of like all of her entrepreneurial kind of mindset, because she's done all sorts of Etsy sales over the decades, and she's been honing her graphic design skills, but then her knowledge and her experience in the paranormal community just allows her to tap into things that people want to represent. People want that little bit of humor, that little bit of identification, whether it's on a blanket or some some boots or shoes, like all that stuff. So I'm just like so happy because as soon as she has been shifting more and more focus to this, like it's like 7-day work weeks, and she's logging in after dinner to do more work, because I gotta finish that thing. So it lights her up, and
yeah, I lose time doing it.
The great thing is when it connects with a customer, they light up, so I love that transaction that happens like that. It's really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And we'll probably start doing readings on there too. Selling some readings. I used to sell Reiki healings right on my Etsy page in addition to other things, and that did really well. Long distance Reiki, so we might open up readings on there too. Because you can do a reading obviously online just as easily as you can sitting across from someone. Energy isn't restricted by distance and space. So yeah.
So Song of the Spirit on Etsy and onlyparanormal.com both bring you to your shop, right?
Yes, yes. The Etsy is more open right now. Only Paranormal is being reframed, but yeah, you can go to any, and you can also get us on Facebook at Song of the Spirit is our Facebook page too.
So we have an event with you guys coming up, not this weekend, next weekend.
Yeah, super excited.
For people who are listening to the podcast or watching this after, we have a promo code. If you enter podcast on HauntPay, you'll get $15 off of your ticket for Ghost of the Grange.
That's an awesome deal, guys.
The Bombville Grange. It is a fundraiser for the Bombville Grange. And everybody listening right now is saying, what the heck is a Grange?
Boom. She knew it was coming.
Yep, because nobody knows what a Grange is.
Michael knows what a Grange is.
Michael knows what a Grange is. Michael, can you tell us what a Grange is?
Well, the short answer is that it was like a social organization for farmers and their families. So they would meet and, discuss issues of the day. And then, it kind of turned into a social thing as well. So, interestingly, I hadn't heard of them until I came to the Hudson Valley. So I don't know how widespread the, all of the network of Granges are, or if they just petered out over time. But, yeah, when I moved here and started playing a sport called or leisure activity called dartball, 3 of the places that we played at were Granges: Little Britain, Balmville, and
Palinville.
yeah. So, but so we're just like the opportunity to help keep a structure around that has served the community for so many decades. I was like, wait, did she say Balmville Grange? Because I think Lisa was talking with Rosalyn, and I'm like, oh yeah, say yes. And she's like, what am I saying yes to? Because Balmville Grange.
I said, what the heck is a Grange?
Well, and they really are in need of fundraising, and we really want to help them out. So,
yeah.
Yeah, they offer this center for community events, and they offer it very affordably. People rent it out for parties, and local bands play there. And the thing they have is they have no heat in their building.
Yeah.
And if they had heat, they'd be able to, keep it open year round. And it just stinks that they can't do that. So try to raise some funds for them.
Granges were really important to the community. And your dairy farmers, they all belonged. Grange was even open when I can remember as a kid, my father talking about the Grange. So to keep it going in a community that it was really important for, it'd be nice for us to be able to help them out.
Yeah.
And one really cool thing that I found interesting about the Grange is that it was not one of these patriarchal societies where only men could be involved. Women were encouraged to join and be on the board. And I think they mentioned that they had to have so many women members.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, I believe that was the case. So the Balmville Grange was established in 1903. And the first master was DeWitt Osborne. The building that we are going to investigate was built in 1907. And when we were there doing our walkthrough, Susan actually kind of made Susan, how would you explain?
I would say I connected to his energy.
Whoa.
Before we got there, I was connected to an energy, and I was getting a download of information about him. And he kept saying, my picture is in the building. You will find me. I'm in the building. And I looked everywhere, and I'm like, that must just be my error. Like I misunderstood. And I said to the woman who runs the place, I said to her, I don't know, I kept hearing my pictures in the building. She said, oh, we have a picture. It's back here. And it was back on the stage, on the wall. And it was the man that I was seeing and communicating with.
Whoa, that's fantastic.
It was very cool.
Yeah, guys, this is an active location. So anyone who's watching, and you live in the area, we'd love to have you come out and participate and see what you can connect with.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the tickets for this one too, we kept the cost very low because everybody's doing this, they're volunteering their time to go out, and we're just doing this really to try to raise some funds. So tickets for this one is only $35 with the code for $15 off with the podcast that's running until Monday. There's a couple tickets left. That brings it down to $20. $20 to go investigate this 4-hour, event. That's really not.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You really can't. You really can't. So yeah, really hoping that people will take advantage and come out and join us. It's going to be a really fun event, and we're super excited about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are too. Because we had some activity. We had cat balls going off. We had some stuff on the necrophonics when we were there doing a walkthrough. So hopefully it'll be a good one. I think it will be. Besides that, the building is just awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. A lot of original stuff in the basement.
Basement was cool.
And they got cool stuff in there. Remember, like the old Bible and staffs and like.
Oh wow!
Cool artifacts, I guess you could say.
Excellent.
So if people have never tried like psychometry, where you touch an item and see if you can get any impressions off of it, this could be a good opportunity to experiment with that a little bit and see what you can discern just from touching something. So it's pretty good opportunity.
Yeah,
And
when
again,
they took it over, they had boxes of these historic artifacts from the Grange that they were just going to get rid of. And they're
yeah,
like, no, you can't get rid of this stuff. Look at it.
yeah.
So it's all sitting there stored. So,
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
and we can't tell people enough like how much we salute what your group does, to help these locations. You really make the effort to see where you can be utilized to help a historic location raise funds and keep it going, because we know how many things have shut down around us, just because of funds, and not only the funds but also the awareness. Look how many people now know what a Grange is.
Boom.
Hopefully, all right, right now there's 4 people watching. That is 4 more people who know what a Grange is. Tell your friends.
Those are just the live views.
Yeah, spread the word, everybody. Fun fact, this is what a Grange is.
Heck yeah.
There you go.
That's our goal. We'll know by the end of the day what the Grange is.
Super cool.
So I was thinking earlier when you guys were talking about the Ouija boards, and it kept coming up. So every episode of our podcast, we do kind of like a fact or fake thing. So we kind of do a little discussion. And this was in here. I made this slide a couple weeks ago. Our fact or fake.
That's so fun.
I was sitting here chuckling while you guys were talking about Ouija boards.
Oh my gosh, that's really amusing.
Like, you bring the psychics on the show.
Well,
what happens?
2 things I'll say. My quick input, because I know we're at the end. Number 1, my first horrific paranormal occurrence when I was a child was actually due to a Ouija board and an obsession I developed over what I call my crazy Ouija board summer, where I actually saw this little creature that was connected with that board, like in my house
at night,
visibly. I was about 12 years old. It was
green
horrible, glowing green eyes. And another fun fact is during the Baltimore riots, back in the day before, everybody rioted during COVID, but back in the day when riots were rare, there was the Baltimore riots. Well, I was actually in Baltimore for WouijaCon, which was a Ouija board convention. Wow. And I was there for that weekend. So, and just because I have friends that are in the field. So fact or fake, I believe they can be used for communication, but I believe the danger is that you don't know who you're communicating with. And I've seen some really, really dark cases where things went horribly wrong and they were connected to Ouija boards. I've also seen cases where people had a board, got afraid, threw it away, came back home, and later that it's back in their house. So I've had cases like that. So yeah, it's pressed board and plastic in most cases, but it lowers your resistance and lets you think it's a game. And I think it can be dangerous in that way. That was my very long answer.
I would say it's fact. Again, I was at that one party where people were using it, and it seemed like they were getting more than just people pushing something around. So I have belief in it, of course. I believe that my wife has had experiences. So fact.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on tonight. It was so much fun having you as our first guest.
Thank you.
Yes, this is rocked. Thank you.
Do you want to real quick remind everybody where they can find you, find your shop?
Yeah. So Song of the Spirit on Etsy, and the easiest way to find us is to find a Song of the Spirit on Facebook, and that will lead you to all of our other links. And come by and connect with us. We do readings, we do everything.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for coming on, and we so look forward to our event with you guys at the Grange.
Meet you at the Grange.
Thank you so much for always helping us when we ask. We really appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
When we need you.
Always happy to help.
We notice, and we don't want to not thank you.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. We need more groups like yours. So any way we can support, we're always happy to do it. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
You rock.
Thank you, Chuck.
Awesome. Thank you.
All
right. I know you guys got dinner going, so if you want, we just have slides of the next events coming up. So we're just gonna put those up so you guys can mark off whatever you got to.
Appreciate
so we have coming up, we have the 2 events at the Bombville Grange. We have the children's event, Ghostology at the Grange. There are still a couple tickets left for this, and of course, Ghost at the Grange. Reminder, you have $15 off with the podcast, or with the promo code podcast. That is valid until Monday, which is the 7th. That will bring tickets down to $20. So make sure you jump on that. We have the Strauss Mansion coming up on August 26th. That is sold out currently. Booze, Brews, and Barbecues at New Street Tavern, Sunday, September 24th. We have Paranormal Investigation at Crystals of the Quartz House of Healing on September 1st. That is a new event. It was just posted. You can get tickets at Crystals of Quartz website. And then we have the Ghost Hunt with special guest Alexandra Holzer at the Goshen Historic Music Hall on Friday, October 13th. And then our haunted sleepover at the Borland House on December 9th. The overnight rooms are sold out for that one, but there are still some tickets for the investigation only. Chuck got his for Goshen.
Oh, good.
See you there, Chuck.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you again to Michael and Rosalind for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Be
we
well.
appreciate you all.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thank you,
Great.
guys.
Have a good night, everybody. And we will see you all next month, the first Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.